Hello everyone, my name is Scott, this is Jillian, and we're with Internet Safety Concepts. And this is the first of many videos we're going to be putting together to help families, students, adults empower smart online choices while we use today's technology. We're both big fans of technology, and we realize that it can enhance our lives when it's used properly and we think about safety. Our goal is to get us thinking about safety. We both have experiences when it comes to today's technology, the good and the bad. And our goal is to help share it with you so we can make some really good choices on what we do. Now, why is this topic and company so important to me, and why did I start the company? I'm a retired police officer, and I spent a big chunk of my career investigating crimes against children on the internet. And what I saw firsthand really drives me every single day to see if, one, I can help prevent that, but two, educate so we can make sure safety is in the forefront of what we do with today's technology. So that's a little bit, very brief synopsis of why I'm here. Jillian, why are you here today?
Well, being 24 years old, I got a brief glimpse of what the world looked like before technology. And now, of course, it's completely taken over our daily lives. And so I've been through a lot, having used it in middle school, high school, and now college. So I'm eager to share some tips and tricks I've learned when it comes to different safety topics.
Now, she laughed when she was saying a brief synopsis because we joked before we started that she knew about life before technology. And every adult out there my age watching this is laughing because, man, we weren't even close when we were kids. There was nothing like this. And that's a good thing and a bad thing all kind of in one. So we're happy to be here. Today's topic is a very important one. We're going to start off with probably one of the most important topics we're going to talk about, and that is cyberbullying. And why I wanted to start off with this one was because of the importance of getting involved with this topic. So, Jillian, when I do my presentations, especially to parents, what I have found is a lot of us parents, we know the word, but we never experienced it. So when we hear the word cyberbullying, we might just kind of brush it off. We might just say, it's just online. Take a break from everything you're doing online, it'll go away. So to get started, so we can all maybe get on the same page a little bit, could you let us know what is your definition of cyberbullying? What do you feel it is?
I think my definition of cyberbullying would be a person making mean comments, sharing mean and aggressive content, like memes or videos, or really anything to make a person feel down about themselves. Yeah.
All right. So you feel down about yourself. So it doesn't have to be a threat, like I'm going to do this. It's, all right, we'll take an example that we've used in the past of someone has a video of them falling off a skateboard, them breaking their arm. People are videotaping it. They put it on video and they upload it. And then people laugh at it, like it, and make comments on it. Would that, in your opinion, fall under a cyberbullying kind of thing?
Yeah, if the comments are aggressive.
Okay.
In the sense that they make the person feel worse about themselves.
But if someone likes a video, are they involved?
Absolutely.
Okay. And this is where, as an adult, we just kind of look at it sometimes and we see a screen. And I'm not picking on any adults. A lot of us just didn't experience it.
Right.
So we learn from our experiences. And what I've learned so much about cyberbullying is from your generation, because I talk to so many kids about this topic. We talk about the good, and then we talk about success stories, and we'll share a little bit of both. But I think it's so important that we all get involved in this. Cyberbullying is not just kids.
No.
Mean comments and threats and things that happen online could be any age group.
Absolutely.
We're seeing that right now during our election.
Yep.
I always challenge adults, if you don't know what cyberbullying is like, wait for an election year. Because how we treat each other online, it's a big part of it. We're all strong about our opinions. We have the right to express our opinions. But when we hide behind a keyboard, sometimes we say things that we wouldn't say to everyone's face. So let's do this approach. Those of us that have never experienced it, to see what it feels like. We might have impressions on what bullying was like because of what we went through as kids. Can you maybe shine a little light for us on what it feels like, what someone's going through who's the target of cyberbullying?
There's definitely a lot of embarrassment because while your version of bullying was in person, and so it might have been public, but now with social media, everyone has a social media account, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So a lot of people can see it, people from different schools. So a lot of embarrassment and shame come from whatever's being posted about the target, whether it be videos or whether it just be comments. And a lot of isolation and loneliness come with that too, because we talked about if a person likes it, they're absolutely involved, because it then feels like the world is laughing at you. The world is on the bully's side. They're not on my side. Okay. So it definitely feels lonely and with a lot of embarrassment.
Okay. And the reality of it is it might not be. The world might not be
Right.
against you. It's just that's the way you feel.
Absolutely.
Now, as you were saying that, something really crossed my mind. If I was a kid, and in my generation, I'm 51 years old, in my generation, it was kind of like at your school.
Yep.
Like my grandparents never knew if I was getting bullied or picked on. Mm-hmm. My aunts or uncles probably wouldn't even know. Maybe even my parents wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. But now, is that the case?
Absolutely not. I remember being in middle school and seeing videos that probably shouldn't have been on the internet from students in West Hartford schools. Okay. Or like surrounding towns. So, no, everyone sees it.
And that's just not your school that sees the videos, that's worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where I think it's so important that we get involved and we start to learn about this, because so many parents have told me, and I'm not saying it's terrible advice, but if my kids were being bullied online, I would just tell them to log off and that would be good. And taking what I call a digital timeout is not a bad thing, taking a break. But if I tell you as your guardian, as your uncle, hey, just log off, it's going to make the problem go away. Is that going to make the problem go away?
Absolutely not. It's not a bad idea to diffuse the situation in the moment. However, it's not a long-term solution. Okay. The bullying will continue in person, possibly, if that bully is at your school or wherever they are. But it definitely is not.
And because you take a digital timeout doesn't mean the bully's taking a digital timeout.
Exactly.
So the next day when you go to practice, you go to school, all your friends come running up to you with their cell phones going, you see what so-and-so said about you, you're right back into the thick of things.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying taking a timeout is bad. I do. I think taking a digital timeout and taking a break from some things can certainly be beneficial. It's just a tool in our toolbox. It's not a solution, at least in my opinion.
Correct.
And how I formed that opinion was from your generation who taught me, because I've never been cyberbullied, but the kids I speak to all the time have been, and they've shared the good, how they dealt with it, and how the bad is. And I think we underestimate how powerful this can be, how the bad can go really bad.
Yeah.
So you just said something, you said short term. Can you give us an example of what a short term consequence of bullying might look like or feel like?
Well, it's like those initial feelings of embarrassment and shame from whatever's being posted, whatever's being said. And then definitely those feelings of loneliness, because it feels like the world hates you or the world is laughing at you. So those are the feelings you feel in the moment, but they could also increase to a long-term consequence. Like that could lead, if the person doesn't get help for those feelings, they could become suicidal, because if the harassment continues, if they never seeked help, if they never went to a trusted adult and asked for guidance and help, it could lead to suicide.
So is asking for guidance and help an important part of it?
Absolutely.
Okay, why?
Well, because being a young child, you don't know everything. Even though you think you do, you do not know everything. So adults might have tools in their toolbox that you didn't know existed. Okay,
that's a fair enough thing. But now here's the question. Is that an easy conversation to have with your trusted adult?
Absolutely not.
Okay, why?
Because just like the adult in your life says, you have to earn my trust, you also need to earn our trust.
Okay.
So we might not be allowed to be on the app that we're being harassed on, but we are afraid to get in trouble, or we're afraid that our trusted adult is targeting just that problem and not the bigger picture. Okay. So a lot of that needs to be a lot of open communication on both sides.
Okay. And that is not an easy conversation to have.
No.
And I think one thing you might have also noticed is we're not always just saying it's a parent's responsibility or a
Correct.
child has to go to a parent. We use trusted adult or support system or words that we use because we realize there's a lot of different dynamics. But we also want the students to know there's a lot of people out there that care about them. And if you don't feel that the parent's the number one person to talk to, which we both believe, if you have that opportunity, that's the one to go to. But we want them to know there's other resources. And I also want the parents to know that it's not an easy thing. And you might not have all the answers, or some parents are even intimidated by technology, don't want to get involved. This video hopefully starts to bridge that gap a little bit. So as we start to wind down, because we're not going to talk, you and I could talk about this forever. We've talked about what it feels like. We've
Yep.
talked about what it looks like. Now, what are some advices that you can give on how we can deal with it?
At the end of the day, snitch does not define your life. You will eventually move out of the town that you grew up in. You'll change schools, change friends. You will mature and grow up. So if you feel like you're snitching on somebody or telling on them to save someone or save yourself, ignore it, ignore that feeling and do it anyway. Because your life matters and the person who's being harassed matters too.
Now, you mentioned the word snitch because you and I, again, we've talked about that word a lot.
Yeah.
And parents, if you don't know, that word has a lot of weight in our kids' lives because no one wants to be a snitch.
Correct.
And what I've told kids for over a decade now is if someone needs help, you're not a snitch, you're a hero. And it might not seem like that at the moment. It might be a challenge, but it's a challenge worth taking because a snitch is trying to get someone into trouble or trying to get out of trouble. A hero is trying to get involved. So I want kids to respect themselves, respect their people around them, and get involved. So students, the first challenge we have for you is to find that trusted adult, say something, whether it's you or a friend, get involved. And simply by just showing an adult and saying, what do you think? Just get a second opinion. Adults, I also think right now, today, is the time to have the conversation. Because you said it was challenging to discuss this with a trusted adult. I think if we have the conversation before it happens, it would ease that a little bit. Hey, if you ever need me, if something's going wrong online, come talk to me. Yeah, we might be angry, we might be upset, but we're going to work together to keep you safe. If you bridge that conversation now, that's a better chance.
Absolutely.
And parents, if you don't know how to start that conversation, my website will be posted at the end of this where you can get resource guides, safety guides, contracts, so you can talk to your kids about it before it happens. Because that's one of the biggest things that students have told me. They were able to talk to somebody, and that was the first link to getting safety and putting the thing to rest. So, Jillian, I appreciate you sharing some insight from your generation. We hope you got a little information out of this video. We've got more to come. Please subscribe at the bottom. If you have questions or want follow-up, please let us know. We'll get back to you. We'll be as interactive on this as possible. But thank you for taking your time and giving us the attention, and be safe.